Vandeham Shri Guru Shri Yatha Parakamalam Shri Gurun Vaishnavam Scha Shri Rupam Sagrajatam Saganaraganatam Vitam Tam Sajivam Sadvaitam Sabadutam Parijana Saitam Krishna Chaitanya Devam Shri Radha Krishna Paran Sahagana Lalita Shivishakam Vitam Scha Om Ajnana Timarandasya Gyanajana Shalakya Chakshurum Militam Yena Tasma Shri Gurave Namah Gurva Bhishtam Sapurakam Gurganarasi Shasambhushitam Chintya Samastavena Nipanam Shri Rupa Patanugam Govinda Bidam Ujwalam Bharatanam Bhaktyan Vidam Sundaram Vande Vishwakaruncha Divyad Bhagavat Premnavi Bija Pranam Devam Divyatanam Suchandavaranam Balarka Chelanchitam Sandrananda Puram Sareka Varanam Vairagya Vidyamburim Sri Siddhanta Nidim Subhakti Lasitam Saraswatanam Baram Bandetam Shubharam Mareka Sharanam Nyashishwara Sridharam Vanshakopatarubyasya Kripasindubhyevacha Patitanam Pavinebhyo Vaishnavebhyo Namo Namah Namo Mahavaranyaya Krishna Prema Pradayate Krishnaya Krishna Chaitanya Namane Gauratavishe Namah. So we're hearing from Sri Chaitanya Charitamrita by Srila Krishnadas Kaviraj Goswami, translation and commentary by Srila Bhaktivedanta Swami Prabhupada. This is Madhya-lila chapter 17, the Lord travels to Vrindaban. We'll start with verse number 150. Yamuna Dekiya Preme Pade Japadiya Aste Bhyaste Bhattacharya Utaya Dariya. As soon as Sri Chaitanya Mahaprabhu saw the river Jamuna, he threw himself into it. Balabhadra Bhattacharya hastily caught the Lord and very carefully raised him up again. Emata Tindin Prayag Krishna Nama Premadiya Loka Nishtarila. The Lord stayed at Prayag for 3 days. He delivered the holy name of Krishna in ecstatic love. Thus he delivered many people. Mathura Chalite Pate Jata Rahijai Krishna Nama Premadiya Lokere Nachai. Wherever the Lord stopped to rest on the way to Mathura, he delivered the holy name of Krishna and ecstatic love of Krishna. Thus he made the people dance. Purvijena Dakina Chaite Lokanishtarila Paschima Deshe Taiche Sab Vaishnava Korila. When the Lord toured South India, he delivered many people, and when he traveled in the western sector, he similarly converted many people to Vaishnavism. Pate Jahan Jahan Hoy Jamuna Darshan Tahan Japa Diyapade Premi Achaitan. When the Lord was going to Mathura, he came across the river Jamuna several times, and as soon as he saw the river Jamuna, he would immediately jump in, falling unconscious in the water in the ecstasy of love of Krishna. Mathura Nikate Aila Mathura Dekiya Dandavan Hoya Pade Prema Vishta Hoya. When he approached Mathura and saw the city, he immediately fell to the ground and offered obeisances with great ecstatic love. Mathura Siya Koila Vishranti Tirte Snan Janmastane Keshavadeki Korila Pranam. When Mahaprabhu entered the city of Mathura, he took his bath at Vishram Ghat. He then visited the birthplace of Krishna and saw the deity named Keshavji. He offered his respectful obeisances to this deity. Premanandena Chigai Sagana Hunkar Prabhura Premavesha Deki Loke Chamatkar. When Mahaprabhu chanted, danced, and made loud vibrations, all the people were astonished to see his ecstatic love. The loud vibrations is hunkar. It means like he's roaring. It's a sign. It's a quality of ecstasy that just hunkar, roaring. Ek vipra pari prabhu charanadoriya prabhu sange nritya kore prema vishtahoya. One Brahmin fell at the lotus feet of Sri Chaitanya Mahaprabhu and then began to dance with him in ecstatic love. Duhe preme nritya kore kore kolakuli Hare Krishna kaha duhe bole bahutuli. The two of them danced in ecstatic love and embraced each other. Raising their arms, they said, chant the holy name of Hari and Krishna. Hare Krishna kaha duhe. The two of them danced in ecstatic love and embraced each other. Raising their arms, they said, chant the holy name of Hari and Krishna. Lok Hari Hari Bole Kolahala Hoila Keshava Sevaka Prabhu Ke Mala Paraila. All the people then began to chant, Hari, Hari, and there was a great uproar. The priest in Lord Keshava's service offered Sri Chaitanya Mahaprabhu a garland. Loke kohe prabhu deke hoya vishmoy aichehena prema lokika kabunoi. So they two, Mahaprabhu and one Brahmin who danced with him, they're telling people to chant, and everyone begins chanting and singing. When the people saw Sri Chaitanya Mahaprabhu dancing and chanting, they were struck with wonder. And they all said, such love is never an ordinary thing. Loke kohe prabhu deke, hoya vishmoy, aichehena preme, lokika kabunoi. They are saying this is lokika, this is very special. Jahara darshane loke preme mata haya hasekande nachigai Krishna nama laya. The people said, simply by seeing Sri Chaitanya Mahaprabhu, everyone is mad with love of Krishna. Indeed, everyone is laughing, crying, dancing, chanting, and taking the holy name of Krishna. Sarvata Nishchita Iho Krishna Bhatar Mathura Aila Lokera Korite Nishtar. Certainly, Sri Chaitanya Mahaprabhu is in all respects the incarnation of Lord Krishna. Now he has come to Mathura to deliver everyone. Tabe Mahaprabhu se Brahmane Laya Tahare Puchila Kichu Nibrete Masya. After this, Sri Chaitanya Mahaprabhu took the Brahman aside. Sitting in a solitary place, the Lord began to question him. Arya Saro Tumi Brita Brahman Kahan Hoite Paile Tumi E Premadan. Sri Chaitanya Mahaprabhu said, you are an elderly Brahman. You are sincere and you are advanced in spiritual life. Wherefrom have you gotten this transcendental opulence of ecstatic love for Krishna? Viprakohe Shripad Sri Madhavendra Puri Brahmite Bhumete Aila Mathura Nagari. The Brahmin replied, Sripad Madhavendra Puri came to the city of Mathura while he was on tour. Kripa Kori Teho Mora Nilaye Aila More Sishya Kori Mora Hate Bika Koila. While at Mathura, Sripad Madhavendra Puri visited my house and accepted me as a disciple. He then took lunch at my house. Gopala Prakata Kori Seva Koila Mahashrai Adyapita Tahar Seva Govardhane Hoy. After installing the deity of Gopal, Sri Madhavendra Puri rendered him service. That very deity is still being worshipped at Govardhan Hill. Shuni Prabhu Koilatara Charana Bandhan Maya Paya Prabhu Pai Parila Brahman. As soon as Mahaprabhu heard about Madhavendra Puri's relationship with the Brahman, he immediately offered obeisances at his feet. Becoming fearful, the Brahman also immediately fell at the Lord's feet. Prabhu kohe tumi guru ame sishya prai, guru hoya sishye namaskara na jujai. Mahaprabhu said, you are on the position of my spiritual master, and I am your disciple. Since you are my spiritual master, it is not befitting that you offer me obeisances. Because Mahaprabhu sees that this Brahman is a disciple of Madhavendra Puri, and Mahaprabhu is a disciple of Ishwara Puri, the disciple of Madhavendra Puri. So Mahaprabhu regards that person as Guru Varga, as his to be worshipped like his guru, and he offers obeisances to the Brahman. But the Brahman cannot understand why this is, and the Brahman becomes fearful. And then the Brahman offers him obeisances to Mahaprabhu. But Mahaprabhu explains, you're in the position of Guru Tattva. You should not. You are in a worshipable position. You shouldn't be offering me obeisances. Shunya Vishmita Vipra Kohe Maya Paya Aiche Bhat Kaha Kene Sannyasis. Upon hearing this, the Brahman became afraid. He then said, why do you speak like this? You are a sannyasi. Kintu tomara premadeki mane anumani Madhavendra Purir Sambandha Dharajani. Upon seeing your ecstatic love, I can just imagine that you must have some relationship with Madhavendra Puri. This is my understanding. Then that Brahman says, you must also have some relationship with Madhavendra Puri, because otherwise this kind of ecstatic love that you have, it can only be if someone has the connection with Madhavendra Puri. That's what the Brahman tells Mahaprabhu. Krishna prema taha jaha tahara sambandha tahan bina e premara kahan nahiganda. This kind of ecstatic love can be experienced only when one has a relationship with Madhavendra Puri. Without him, even a scent of such ecstatic love is impossible. Tabe Bhattacharya Tare Sambandha Kohila Shunyanandita Vipra Nachite Lagila. Balabhadra Bhattacharya then explained the relationship between Madhavendra Puri and Sri Chaitanya Mahaprabhu. After hearing this, the Brahman became very pleased and began to dance. Tabi Vipra Prabhure Loya Aila Nijagare Apana Ichaya Prabhur Nama Sevakore. The Brahman then took Mahaprabhu to his home, and out of his own free will began to serve the Lord in various ways. Bhikalage Bhattacharya Koraila Bandhan. No. Bhikalage Bhattacharya Koraila Randan. Tabe Mahaprabhu Hase Bolila Bachan. He asked Balabhadra Bhattacharya to cook for Mahaprabhu's lunch. At that time, the Lord, smiling, spoke as follows. Purigo sai tomar gare, koryachan bika, moratume bika deho, emorasika. Mahaprabhu said, Madhavendra Puri has already taken lunch at your place. Therefore you may cook and give me the food. That is my instruction. Jajad acharati shreshtas tattad evetaro janaha Sayat pramanam kurute lokastad anuvartate. Whatever action a great man performs, common men follow. And whatever standards he sets by exemplary acts, all the world pursues. Jajapi Sanodiya hoy Seta Brahman, Sanodiya gare sannyasi na kore bhujan. The Brahman belonged to the Sanodiya Brahman community, and a sannyasi does not accept food from such a Brahman. In northwestern India, Vaishyas are divided into various subdivisions. Srila Bhaktivinoda Thakur points out that they are divided as Agarwal, Kolawara, and Sanwada. Out of them, the Agarwals are said to be the first class Vaishyas, and the Kalawaras and Sanwadas are considered lower due to their occupational degradation. The Kalawalas generally take wine and other intoxicants. Although they are Vaishyas, they are considered to belong to a lower class. The priests who guide the Kalawaras and the Sanwadas are called Sanodiya Brahmins. Srila Bhaktivinoda Thakur states that the word Sanodiya in Bengal indicates Suvarnabhanik. In Bengal, there are priests who guide the Suvarnabhanik community, which is also considered a low class. There is little differences between the Sanwadas and the Suvarnabhaniks. Generally, the Suvarnabhaniks are bankers dealing in gold and silver. In Western India, the Agarwals also belong to the banking profession. This is the original business of the Suvarnabhanik or Agarwal community. Historically, the Agarwals came from the upcountry named Ayodhya, and the Suvarnabhanik community also came from Ayodhya. It therefore appears that the Suvarnabhanik and the Agarwals belong to the same community. The Sanodiya Brahmins were the guides of the Kalawaras and Sanwadas. They are therefore considered to be lower class Brahmins, and a sannyasi is not allowed to take alms or food from them. However, Sri Chaitanya Mahaprabhu accepted lunch cooked by a Sanodiya Brahmin simply because he belonged to the Madhavendra Puri's community. Srila Madhavendra Puri was the spiritual master of Vishwara Puri, who was the spiritual master of Sri Chaitanya Mahaprabhu. Thus, a spiritual relationship is established on the spiritual platform without consideration of material inferiority or superiority. So Mahaprabhu was happy to accept food from a Sanodiya Brahmin, although normally a Sanodiya Brahmin does ordinarily a sannyasi doesn't eat food cooked by a Sanodiya Brahmin, but because he had served Sri Madhavendra Puri and also was his disciple, and Madhavendra Puri had gone to his house to take meal, then Mahaprabhu was happy to eat what the Sanodiya Brahmin cooked. Tatapi Purideki Tara Vaishnava Achar Sishakore Tara Bhikka Koila Angikar. Although the Brahmin belonging to the Sanodiya community, Srila Madhavendra Puri had seen that he behaved like a Vaishnava and had therefore accepted him as his disciple. The food he had cooked had also been accepted by Madhavendra Puri. Mahaprabhu Tare Chari Bhikha Magila Donya Kore Se Vipra Kohite Lagila. Therefore, Sri Chaitanya Mahaprabhu willingly requested food from the Brahmin, and the Brahmin, feeling natural humility, began to speak as follows. Tomare Bhikadiba Bora Bhagya Se Amar Tumi Ishvara Nahi Tomar Bidi Vyabahar. It is a great fortune for me to offer you food. You are the Supreme Lord, and being in the divine position, you are not restricted in any way. Murka loka koribeka tomara nindan sahitena parimu se dushtera bachan. Foolish people will blaspheme you or will criticize you, but I shall not tolerate the words of such mischievous people. Srila Bhaktisiddhanta Saraswati Thakur remarks that although the Brahmin did not belong to a superior community, he fearlessly chastised so-called caste Brahmins because he was situated on the platform of pure devotional service. There are people who are opposed to Sri Chaitanya Mahaprabhu's accepting a Vaishnava belonging to a lower caste. Such people do not consider Mahaprasadam transcendental, and therefore they are described here as murka, foolish, and dushta, mischievous. A pure devotee has the power to challenge such high caste people, and his brave statements are not to be considered proud or puffed up. On the contrary, he is to be considered straightforward. Such a person does not like to flatter high-class Brahmins who belong to the non-Vaishnava community. Prabhu kohe shruti smriti jata rishigan sabe ek mata nahe bina dharma. Sri Chaitanya Mahaprabhu replied, the Vedas, Puranas, and great learned sages are not always in agreement with one another. Consequently, there are different religious principles. There is not agreement among many persons about what are actually acceptable religious principles. What is real dharma? Dharma stapana hetu sarara vyavahar purigosar jay acharan say dharmasar. A devotee's behavior establishes the true purpose of religious principles. The behavior of Madhavendra Puri is the essence of such religious principles. Tarka pratishta shrutasya Tarko pratishta shrutayo vibina nasav rishir yashyam matam nabinam dharmasya tattvam nihitam guhayam mahajano yena gata sapantaha. Sri Chaitanya Mahaprabhu continued, dry arguments are inconclusive. A great personality whose opinion does not differ from others is not considered a great sage. Simply by studying the Vedas, which are variegated, one cannot come to the right path by which religious principles are understood. The solid truth of religious principles is hidden in the heart of an unadulterated, self-realized person. Consequently, as the Shastras confirm, one should accept whatever progressive path the Mahajans advocate. So there's never agreement among everyone of what is proper religious principles or what is real dharma. So there is argument, and only a Mahajan, only someone who is a realized saint can tell what is the proper path. Tabe se vipra prabhu ke bhikya korala madhupurya lokasabha prabhu ke dekite aila. After this discussion, the Brahmins served lunch to Mahaprabhu. Then all the people residing in Mathura came to see the Lord. Laka sankhya loka aise nahike ganan bahir hoya prabhu Diladarshan. People came by the hundreds of thousands and no one could count them. Therefore, Sri Chaitanya Mahaprabhu came out of the house to give audience to the people, to let people have his darshan. Bahutuli bole Prabhu Hari Bol Dwani Premi Mata Nache Lok Kori Hari Dwani. When the people assembled, Sri Chaitanya Mahaprabhu raised his arms and said very loudly, Hari Bol. The people responded to the Lord and became ecstatic. As if mad, they began to dance and to vibrate the transcendental sound, Hari. Jamunara Chabishagate Prabhu Koilan Snan Se Bipra Prabhu Ke Dekaya Tirthastan. Sri Chaitanya Mahaprabhu bathed in the 24 ghats along the banks of the Jamuna, and the Brahman showed him all the places of pilgrimage. Swayambhu Vishrama Dirga Vishnu Bhateshwar Mahavidya Gokarnade Dekila Vistar. Sri Chaitanya Mahaprabhu visited the holy places on the banks of the Jamuna, including Swayambhu Vishram Ghat, Dirga Vishnu Bhuteshwar Mahavidya, and Gokarna. Banadeki Bare Jari Prabhuras Manahoila Seta Brahmane Prabhu Sangete Loila. When Mahaprabhu wanted to see the various forests of Vrindaban, he took the Brahman with him, because that Sanodiya Brahman knew and could show Mahaprabhu all the different forests of Vrindaban. Vana, like the name Vrindaban. Vana means forest. Vrindaban means the forest of Tulsi. Madhuvan, Tala, Kumura, Bahula, Managela, Tahantaha, Snanakore, Prema Vishna Hoila. Sri Chaitanya Mahaprabhu visited the different forests, including Madhuvan, Talavan, Kamudhavan, and Bahulavan. Wherever he went, he took his bath with great ecstatic love. Pate Gabi Gatachare Prabhure Dekiya Prabhuke Bed Aya Asi Hunkara Korea. When Mahaprabhu passed through Vrindaban, herds of grazing cows saw him pass and immediately, surrounding him, began to move very loudly. Gavideki Stabda Prabhu Primera Tarange Vatsaye Gabe Prabhura Chate Saba Ange. Seeing the herds approach him, the Lord was stunned with ecstatic love. The cows then began to lick the body. The cows then began to lick his body out of great affection. So when Mahaprabhu sees all these cows in Vrindaban, he becomes, of course, very ecstatic. Shushtahoya Prabhu Kore Anga Karanyan Prabhu Sange Chale Nahi Chare Denugan. Becoming pacified, Mahaprabhu began to caress the cows, and the cows, being unable to give up his company, went with him. Kashte Shishte Denu Sab Rakila Goyal Prabhu Kanta Dwani Shuni Aishe Mrigipal. It was only with great difficulty that the cowherd men were able to keep the cows back. Then when the Lord chanted, all the deer heard his sweet voice and approached him. Mriga Mrigi Mukha Deki Prabhu Angachate Bayanahi Kore Sange Jaya Bate Bate. When the does and bucks came and saw the Lord's face, they began to lick his body. Not being at all afraid of him, they accompanied him along the path. Shuka Pika Bringa Prabhure Deki Pancham Kai Shikigana Nritya Kore Prabhu Age Jai. Bumblebees and birds like the parrot and cuckoo all began to sing loudly on the fifth note, and the peacocks began to dance in front of the Lord. So all the animals, the deer and the peacocks and birds and parrots, they all began singing in ecstasy with the Lord. Prabhu Deki Vrindavan Brikalatagane Ankura Pulaka Madhu Ashru Varishane. Upon seeing Sri Chaitanya Mahaprabhu, the trees and creepers of Vrindaban became jubilant. Their twigs stood up and they began to shed tears of ecstasy in the form of honey. Fula Fala Bori Dola Pare Prabhupai Bandhu Deki Bandhu Chena Beta Loya Jai. A tree branches and creepers overloaded with fruits and flowers fell down at the lotus feet of the Lord and greeted him with various presentations as if they were friends. Prabhu Deki Brindavaner Stavara Jangam Anandita Bandhujena Deki Bandhugan. Thus all the moving and non-moving living entities of Vrindaban became very jubilant to see the Lord. It was as if friends were made happy by seeing another friend. Tasabar Pritideki Prabhu Bhava Beshe Sabasane Krita Kore Hoya Tarabase. Seeing their affection, the Lord was moved by ecstatic love. He began to sport with them exactly as a friend sports with his friends. Thus he voluntarily came under the control of his friends. Pratibrika Lata Prabhu Korana Alingan Pushpadi Jnane Koran Krishna Samarpan. Sri Chaitanya Mahaprabhu began to embrace each and every tree and creeper, and they began to offer their fruits and flowers as if in meditation. Ashukampa Pulaka Preme Sharira Astire Krishna Bola Krishna Bol Bole Uchaishware. The Lord's body was restless, and tears, trembling and jubilation were manifest. He said very loudly, Krishna Bol, chant Krishna, chant Krishna. Stavara Jangama Mili Kore Krishna Dwani Prabhur Gambira Sware Jena Pratidwani. All moving and non-moving creatures then began to vibrate the transcendental sound of Hare Krishna as if they were echoing the deep sound of Chaitanya Mahaprabhu. Mrigara Galadari Prabhu Korana Rodane Mrigara Pulaka Ange Ashrunayane. The Lord then clasped the necks of the deer and began to cry. There was jubilation manifest in the bodies of the deer, and tears were in their eyes.
Are you halfway through, or I'm in the mood with this day? I can do those first and leave it open if you want.
Okay, good. Yeah, I'll finish in a very short time. Brikadole Shukashare Dila Darashan Tahandeki Prabhura Kichu Shunite Hoilaman. When a male and female parrot appeared on the branches of a tree, the Lord saw them and wanted to hear them speak. Shuka Sharika Prabhura Hati Uripade Prabhuke Shunaya Krishna Guna Shlokapade. Both parrots flew onto the hand of the Lord and began to chant the transcendental qualities of Krishna, and the Lord listened to them. So there are two parrots, Shuka and Shari. Shuka is a male parrot and Shari is a female parrot. and they began, the two parrots began speaking to each other about Krishna, speaking about Krishna and Srimati Radharani. Sundaryam lalanali dorya dalanam lila rama stambini viryam kandu kitadri varyam amala pare parardam gunaha shilam sarva jananu ranjanam aho yashyayam asmat prabhur vishvam vishva janina kirtir avatat krishno jagan mohana. The male parrot sang, "The glorification of Lord Krishna, the Supreme Personality of God, is beneficial to everyone in the universe. His beauty is victorious over the gopis of Vrindaban, and it subdues their patience. His pastimes astound the goddess of fortune, and his bodily strength turns Govardhan Hill into a small toy like a ball. His spotless qualities are unlimited, and his behavior satisfies everyone. Lord Krishna is attractive to everyone. Oh, may our Lord maintain the whole universe." This is from the Govinda Lilamrita by Krishnadas Kaviraj Goswami also. Shukamukhe Shunitabe Krishnara Varnan Sharika Padaye Tabe Radhika Varnan. After hearing this description of Lord Krishna from the male parrot, the female parrot began to recite a description of Srimati Radharani. Shri Radhikaya Priyata Su Rupata Sushilata Nartana Gana Chaturi Gunali Sampat Kavita Cha Rajate Jagan Mano Mohana Chitta Mohini. The female parrot said, Srimati Radharani's affection, her exquisite beauty and good behavior, her artistic dancing and chanting, and her poetic compositions are all so attractive that they attract the mind of Krishna, who attracts the mind of everyone in the universe. Punashuka Kohe Krishna Madana Mohan Tabe Ara Shloka Shuka Korila Patan. Thereafter the male parrot said, Krishna is the enchanter of the mind of Cupid. He then began to recite another verse. He's saying that Krishna is Madan Mohan. He's attracting everybody. He attracts everyone. Bamshidori Jagannari Chittahari Sa Sharike Vihare Gopa Naribir Jian Madana Mohana. The male parrot then said, My dear Shari, female parrot, Sri Krishna carries a flute and enchants the hearts of all women throughout the universe. He is specifically the enjoyer of the beautiful gopis, and he is the enchanter of Cupid also. Let him be glorified. So Krishna's Madan Mohan, he attracts everyone. But then Shari, the female parrot, is going to respond. She says, Punashari Kohe. This describes Punashari Kohe Shuke Kore Parihas Dahashuni Prabhura Hoila Vishmoy Premolas. Then the female parrot began to speak jokingly to the male parrot, and Sri Chaitanya Mahaprabhu was struck with wonderful ecstatic love to hear her speak. Radha Sange Jadavati Tara Marana Mohana Anyata Vishwa Mohopi Swayam Marana Mohita. The female parrot said, When Lord Krishna is with Radharani, he is the enchanter of Cupid. Otherwise, when he is alone, he himself is enchanted by erotic feelings, even though he enchants the whole universe. So, what this female parrot Shouty is saying, yes, Krishna enchants everyone. He even bewilders Cupid. But when he's not with Srimati Radharani, he feels he himself is bewildered and enchanted by her. So he enchants everyone when he's with Srimati Radharani. But when he's not with Srimati Radharani, he himself is in illusion. Shukashari, Uripuna, Gela Brikadale, Mayorera, Nritya Prabhu Deki, Kutahole. Both parrots then flew onto a tree branch, and Sri Chaitanya Mahaprabhu began to watch the dancing of the peacocks with curiosity. Mayorera Kantadeki Prabhura Krishna Smriti Hoila Premaveshe Mahaprabhu Bhumete Parila. When the Lord saw the bluish necks of the peacocks, his remembrance of Krishna immediately awakened, and he fell to the ground in ecstatic love. Prabhure Morchita Deki Seta Brahman Bhattacharya Sange Kore Prabhura Sandarpan. When Mahaprabhu sees the bluish color of the necks of the peacocks, he remembers Krishna and he falls into ecstasy. When the Brahman saw that Mahaprabhu was unconscious, he and Balabhadra Bhattacharya took care of him. So the Brahman refers to the Sanodiya Brahman, who's a disciple of Madhavendra Puri. Aste Bhyaste Mahaprabhur Loya Mahirvas Jala Shekha Kore Ange Vashirera Batash. They hastily sprinkled water upon the Lord's body. Then they took up his outer cloth and began to fan him with it. So they're fanning the Lord. Prabhu Karne Krishna Nama Kohe Uchakori Chaitanya Bhaya Prabhu Jana Garagari. They then began to chant the holy name of Krishna into the Lord's ear. When the Lord regained consciousness, he began rolling on the ground. Kandaka Durga Bhavane Anga Katta Hoila Bhattacharya Kole Kori Prabhure Shushta Koila. When the Lord rolled on the ground, sharp thorns injured his body. Taking him on his lap, Balabhadra Bhattacharya pacified him. Krishna Veshe Prabhur Preme Garagaraman Bobo Kori Ute Korana Nartan. The mind of Mahaprabhu wandered in ecstatic love of Krishna. He immediately stood up and said, chant, chant. Then he himself began to dance. So Mahaprabhu was absorbed in complete ecstasy when he's in Vrindaban. And Bhattacharya se Vipra Krishna Namagai Nachite Nachite Pate Prabhu Chadijai. Being thus ordered by the Lord, both Balabhadra Bhattacharya and the Brahman began to chant the holy name of Krishna. Then the Lord, dancing and dancing, proceeded along the path. Prabhura Primavesha Deki Brahmana Vishmita Prabhura Rakalagi Vipro Hoila Chintita. The Brahman was astounded to see the symptoms of ecstatic love exhibited by Sri Chaitanya Mahaprabhu. He then became anxious to give the Lord protection. Nila Chale Chila Jaiche Primaveshaman Vrindavana Jaite Pate Hoila Shatagun. Sri Chaitanya Mahaprabhu's mind was absorbed in ecstatic love at Jagannath Puri. But when he passed along the road on the way to Vrindaban, that love increased 100 times. Sahasra guna prema bore mathura darshane laka guna prema bore brahmana jabe bane. The Lord's ecstatic love increased 1,000 times when he visited Mathura, but it increased 100,000 times when he wandered in the forests of Vrindaban. Anya desha prema uchale Vrindavana name sakat brahmaye ebe se Vrindavane preme garagara mana ratri divase snana vikade nirvaha korana abhyase. When Mahaprabhu was elsewhere, the very name of Vrindavan was sufficient to increase his ecstatic love. Now when he was actually traveling in the Vrindavan forest, his mind was absorbed in great ecstatic love day and night. He ate and bathed simply out of habit. Emata prema javad brahmila baraban ekatra lekilun sarvatra najai varnan. Thus I have written a description of the ecstatic love Sri Chaitanya Mahaprabhu manifested in one of the places he visited while walking through the 12 forests of Vrindavan. To describe what he experienced everywhere would be impossible. Vrindavane hoila prabhur jatika premara vikar kote grante ananta likena tahara vishtar. Lord Ananta writes millions of books elaborately describing the transformations of ecstatic love experienced by Sri Chaitanya Mahaprabhu in Vrindavan. Tabu likibare nare tara ekkan udesha korite lage dikadarshan. Since Lord Ananta himself cannot describe even a fragment of these pastimes, I am simply pointing out the direction. Jagat Basila Chaitanya Lilara Patare Jarajata Shakti Tat Patare Santare. The whole world became merged in the inundation of the pastimes of Sri Chaitanya Mahaprabhu. One can swim in that water to the extent that he has the strength. So Krishna Das Kaviraj says, the pastimes of the Lord are unlimited, and especially describing Mahaprabhu's ecstasy in Vrindavan, which is going on every second of every day and expanding. It would be impossible to describe the Lord's ecstasy. He says, even Ananta Sage himself, with his millions of hoods, could not describe even a fraction of the Lord's pastimes of Vrindavan. So Krishna Das says, so I'm just trying to give some kind of indication of the Lord's ecstasy when he's in Vrindavan. And Sri Rupa Raghunath Parijara As Chaitanya Charitamrita Kohe Krishna Das, praying at the lotus feet of Sri Rupa and Sri Raghunath, always desiring their mercy, I, Krishna Das, narrate Sri Chaitanya Charitamrita, following in their footsteps. Thus end the Bhaktivedanta purports to Sri Chaitanya Charitamrita, Madhya-lila, 17th chapter, describing the Lord's traveling to Vrindavan. Okay, so now the Lord is in Vrindavan. We'll continue. Hare Haraya Nama Krishna Jadavaya Nama Hare Haraya Nama Krishna Jadavaya Nama Jadavaya Madhavaya Keshavaya Nama Jadavaya Madhavaya Keshavaya Nama Gopal Govinda Ram Shri Madhusudan Gopal Giridhari Gopinatha Madana Mohan. Giridhari Gopinatha Mohan. Sri Chaitanya Nityananda Sri Advaita Chandra. Chaitanya Nityananda Sri Advaita Chandra. Garanara Shiva Sari Gora Bhakta Vrinda. Garanara Shiva Sari Gora Bhakta Jai Rupa Sanatam Bhakta Raghunath. Rupa Sanatam Raghunath. Shri Jiva Gopala Bhatta Dasha Raghunath. Shiva Gopala Bhatta Dasha Raghunath. Echai Gosai Kori Charana Bandhan. Echai Gosai Kori Charana Bandhan. Yao Ete Vignana Shabishta Puran. Yao Ete Vignana Shabishta Puran. Echai Gosai Jamui Tarana. Echai Gosai Jamui Tarana. Tasabar Padarenu Mora Panchagan. Tasabar Padarenu Mora Panchagan. Tade Charana Sevi Bhakta Sanibas. Ade Charana Sevi Bhakta Sanibas. Janame More Abhilas. Janame More Abhilas. Echai Gosai Jabe Braje Koilabas. Echai Gosai Jabe Braje Koilabas. Radha Krishna Nitya Lila Gaurila Prakash. Radha Krishna Nitya Lila Gaurila Prakash. Anande Bolo Hari Bhaja Vrindaban. Anande Bolo Hari Bhaja Vrindaban. Shri Guru Vaishnava Pade Manjai Aman. Shri Guru Vaishnava Pade Manjai Aman. Shri Guru Vaishnava Pad Padma Koriyan. Guru Vaishnava Pad Padma Koriyan. Hare Nam Sankirtana Kohai Narata Mudan. Hare Nam Sankirtana Kohai Narata Mudan. Hare Krishna, Krishna Krishna, Hare Hare. Hare Krishna, Krishna Krishna, Hare Hare. Hare Rama, Rama Rama, Hare Hare. Hare Rama, Rama Rama, Hare Krishna, Krishna Krishna, Hare Hare. Hare Krishna, Krishna Krishna, Hare Hare. Hare Rama, Rama Rama, Hare Hare. Hare Rama, Jai Saparikara Shishi Guru Guranga Gandharvika Giridhari Ju Ki Jai. Jai Om Vishnu Pad Paramansa Parvajaka Charyashta Tarasadashi Shimad Srila Bhakti Tilak Neriya Maharaj Ki Jai. Jai Om Vishnu Pad Paramansa Parvajaka Charyashta Tarasadashi Shimad Srila Bhakti Nirmawacharya Maharaj Ki Jai. Jai Om Vishnu Pad Paramansa Parvajaka Charyashta Tarasadashi Shimad Srila Bhakti Sundar Govindadev Goswami Maharaj Ki Jai. Jai Om Vishnu Pad Paramansa Parvajaka Charyashta Tarasadashi Shimad Srila Bhakti Rakak Sridhar Dev Goswami Maharaj Ki Jai. Jai Bhagavan Srila Bhakti Siddhanta Saraswati Goswami Thakur Ki Jai. Jai Om Vishnu Pad Srila Gaur Kishore Das Babaji Maharaj Ki Jai. Jai Om Vishnu Pad Srila Satchidananda Bhakti Vinod Thakur Ki Jai. Jai Om Vishnu Pad Vaishnava Sarvabhauma Srila Jagannath Das Babaji Maharaj Ki Jai. Rupanuga Guru Bharga Ki Jai. Namachari Srila Haridas Thakur Ki Jai. Shri Rupa Sanatan Bhatta Raghunath Shri Jiva Gopal Bhatta Dasha Raghunath Shad Goswami Prabhu Ki Jai. Premsigo Shri Krishna Chaitanya Prabhu Nityananda Shri Advaita Gadadhar Shivasadi Shri Gaura Bhakta Vrinda Ki Jai. Vishvavaranya Srila Bhakti Vedanta Swami Maharaj Prabhupada Ki Jai. Sri Chaitanya Charitamrita Ki Jai. Srila Krishna Das Kaviraj Goswami Prabhu Ki Jai. Srila Bhakti Kushamashram Maharaj Ki Jai. Nantakoti Vaishnava Vrinda Ki Jai. Shishi Radha Krishna Go Gopi Govardhan Sham Kuna Radha Kunda Kalindi Yamuna Jo Ki Jai. Shri Purushottam Madam Ki Jai. Baladev Subhadra Jagannath Jo Ki Jai. Bhakti Vigna Vinashaya Shrina Sringadev Ki Jai. Bhakta Prabhara Shri Prahlad Maharaj Ki Jai. Samaveda Bhakta Vrinda Ki Jai. Shri Harinam Sankirtan Ki Jai. All the assembled devotees Ki Jai. Shri Sokel Sri Chaitanya Saraswat Sevashram Ki Jai. Sri Chaitanya Charitamrita Ki Jai. All the assembled devotees Ki Jai. Gaur Premanande Hari Hari Bol.
Srila Bhakti Bhavanya Narayana Maharaj Ki Jai.